framför oss har vi de 15 största skandalerna i fotbollens historia. Det här är varit pepp på att reagera på länge för att det är kul att veta hur mycket skit det finns här inom. Han pratar på engelska. Finns tyvärr ingen text, det ber om ursäkt. Varför är det nummer 17? Plats 17 när vi är topp 15.
Rivaldo. This guy was a magician on the ball.
Rivaldo.
In 2002, he caused outrage. Brazil was playing against Turkey in the first game of the World Cup. The score was 2-1. There were only a couple of minutes left and Brazil were shamefully wasting time and taking forever to take the corner. So one
time wasted
snapped. Hakan shot the ball towards Rivaldo.
Det är ändå nice att träffa honom också.
The referee gave the Turkish player a red card because he thought Rivaldo was hit in the face. Brazil won the game, but in the end Rivaldo had to pay a fine for play acting. But scandals, you know...
Oj, han fick betala böter, Rivaldo. Okay.
They don't always happen in front of cameras. So
John Terry.
Now, how about some romantic drama? In 2009, John Terry was the captain of the English national team and was a great defender at Chelsea. But then the shocking news. He had an affair with the wife of Wayne Bridge. His former teammate, Fabio Capello, hence took away the captain armband and Bridge refused to play for England again with Terry. I mean, who can blame him? Also, we got...
Det har ju varit fler såna här otrohetsaffärer också bland fotbollsspelare. Det är säkert vanligare än vad man tror alltså. Så John Terry var alltså otrogen mot, eller vad ska man säga, med Wayne Bridge fru, alltså lagkamraten i engelska landslaget och sådär. Och han vägrade spela engelska landslaget om John Terry spelade. Och där vägrade han också. Förstår.
A captain should be a role model you can trust. Well, not in this case. And all that is left is this very awkward picture of those two. Still, nothing compared to our top three. But first, this one, which sounds like a thriller. In 2015, the French player Mathieu Valbuena was getting blackmailed. There was a tape of him getting naughty with a girl. And people contacted him and said they would release the tape unless Mathieu would pay them. He didn't know what to do. So he asked his friend and teammate Karim Benzema. And he encouraged Valbuena to definitely pay the money. The support and advice of friends is the best. Well, in this case, it turned out Benzema was friends with the guys who were blackmailing Valbuena. And it seemed he was pressuring him to pay. Hence, Benzema was found guilty of helping in the crime. He got a 1-year suspended sentence and a fine of 75,000 euros. As well, he was kicked out of the national team. And this is not the first time Benzema got caught up in a scandal, because a couple of years before, in 2009, he, alongside his French teammates Sidney and Franck Ribery, were accused of another crime. The three French superstars were suspected to have slept with an underage prostitute. The girl, whose name is Sahir Deher, was just 16 years old at the time. All the three players claimed they believed she was over 18. They didn't have to go to prison. Still, they faced huge criticism. And Sahir, well, she made the best out of all the attention. She became super famous and started to model for artists like Karl Lagerfeld, and now is a lingerie designer. But enough of Benzema scandals. Let's give him a little break. Jag trodde vi skulle se Benzema igen, men han sa att det inte var fler Benzema-skandaler. It's not all Ronaldo då? And naughty tapes in the world of football players, because most of them just want to eat good to be at their peak performance level. However, they cannot eat everything. Certain substances like steroids are banned. And in order to make sure that everyone follows these rules, there's drug tests. Which brings us to our next scandal. Because in 2011, a few weeks before the Gold Cup, which is the tournament of North American, Central American and Caribbean teams, 5 Mexico players were tested positive, including Ted.
5 mexikanska spelare var testade positivt för doping.
Mosby. Still 1 night and 9 months away from having a family. Little joke, but doesn't the goalkeeper of Mexico literally look like Ted from How I Met Your Mother? Anyways, the players were banned from the tournament because some kind of steroids were found. Regardless of this embarrassment, Mexico still won the Gold Cup. And the players, they kept emphasizing that they didn't take any steroids. And then a few months later, the news. Apparently, the players had eaten meat and that meat had steroids in it. In the end, the players were allowed to play for...
Så de hade ätit kött och det var steroider i köttet som hade gett utslag. What?
Again, and we got ourselves another scandal. Also, Manchester United's Rio Ferdinand had to do a drug test in September 2003. But you know, he was like, nah, I got more important things to do, but I'm getting ahead of myself. In June 2002, he was bought by Manchester United for about 46 million euros, making him the most expensive defender in the world. And hey, they were successful winning the Premier League in his first year. But then, in 2003, he was supposed to show up for a drug test, but he never came. He said he was so stressed out due to moving houses that he simply forgot.
Han
But regardless, the
struntade i
English Football
dopingtest.
Association banned him for 8 months. He offered to take the test immediately, but it all didn't change.
Han blev
He
bannad i
was
8
still
månader för han
banned,
inte
and
tog
this is the reason why
doptestet.
footballers take these drug tests super serious today.
Ja.
But you know what is the best drug?
Så är det, de är
Our
stenhårda.
channel. So why not take a hit and subscribe? Now the
Alltså,
next
vad är det
scandal
för
was not
redigering?
caused by one single player, but by 2 nations.
Oj.
World Cup 1982 in Spain. It's the last match of the group stage. Germany
Är det en
against
läggmatch
neighbor
nu?
Austria.
Eh,
And then
Tyskland,
in the 11th
Österrike.
minute, goal for Germany. And both teams are happy. Why? Because 1-0 would mean that Germany and Austria would advance to the next stage. So the teams stopped playing football.
Nej.
Literally. They were just passing the ball
Men
carefully
vad-
from left
och
to
det var-
right,
alltså,
and the
det var
fans
säkert
were
ett
really outraged
jättetidigt
in the
mål
stadium.
också.
And even the Austrian TV commentator encouraged the viewers to just turn off the TV. This match was labeled as the disgrace of Dijon. And if you ever wondered why the last matches of the group stage in a World Cup are now all at the same time,
Ja, det fattar man ju.
this is the reason. For our next number we go to a big scandal in France. In
Topp
the
10, Frankrike igen,
1992-93
92-93.
season, Marseille was playing great football in France and internationally.
Okej, så Marseille var
To
bra.
the Champions League final against AC Milan. A few days before
AC.
they had a match in the Ligue A, so the Marseille president contacted the players of the other team to underperform for, you know, a little bribe. Marseille won this match easily and also won the Champions League final, but then one of the players who did not want to take the bribe revealed the scandal. Marseille was stripped from its Ligue A title and was even relegated to the second
alltså.
division. But fun fact, they were
mutade.
allowed to keep the Champions League title. Our next scandal,
I
guys,
serien.
is not funny,
Seriespelet.
however, it's just
Oj.
creepy. Bruno Fernandes was a Brazilian goalkeeper playing for Flamengo.
Okay.
And that pretty well. However, he cheated on his wife and got this woman pregnant. And after the baby boy was born, she wanted child support. However, he didn't want to pay and ordered to kidnap her and kill her. Well, police found
Så nu är det ju, nu ballar det verkligen ur. Han har alltså han var otrogen med sin fru med en tjej. Hon blev gravid. Föder barnet, vill ha bidrag och stöd pengamässigt. Han vill inte det. Så istället för att ge henne det här stödet så kan han kidnappa henne och sen döda henne. Vad i helvete?
out and everyone was arrested and Bruno was sentenced to 22 years in prison.
22
some
år!
scandals are tragic and some scandals
Det är
are
helt
funny.
rätt.
On January 2009, Carlos Flores was running through the streets of Humanga in Peru naked. When stopped by the police, he told them that he was being chased by ghosts. He
Nej.
later confessed that he made up the whole story so that his wife wouldn't be suspicious. Truth was, he had been having some fun with some ladies and they mugged him. And you know who else was engaged with some shady ladies? Ronaldo.
Ja,
No,
Ronaldo,
not
det
that
är
one.
riktigt
The original
stökigt.
Ronaldo. R9. The
Nej, jaha,
Brazilian
men
legend.
CR7 också.
Gotta love that haircut. He had just suffered a horrific knee injury and was in Brazil in 2008 for some relaxation.
För den
Which
som, jag
man-
misstänker att alla som har sett det här, alla som är fotbollsfans vet ju vad When We Were Kings. Men alltså lyssna på When We Were Kings om Ronaldo och sådana saker, det är så jäkla intressant. Man kan mycket om Ronaldo men inte så mycket som de går igenom, alltså det är intressant. Och sen alla andra de har också.
Lots of
de är bra,
partying
When
with
We're
ladies
Kings.
for him.
De
However,
har lagt
during that
ner.
night he partied and had fun with 3 ladies who turned out to be guys dressed as ladies.
Nej,
He
det är
wanted to pay
sant.
them 400 euros to leave it like that and just for them to keep quiet, but they wanted apparently 20,000 euros,
20,000
or
euro.
otherwise threatened to leak all the infos to the press. He didn't want to pay and the ladies were later convicted of spreading false information, but the scandal of Ronaldo remained. And speaking about drugs,
Han är
we
skadad,
gotta go
går
to
han
the
och
year
festar också.
2003.
Det är så
Adrian
tydligt.
Mutu had just played a great season for Parma.
Aha.
Chelsea had a new owner with Abramovich
Yep.
and had some cash laying around. So they spent big money,
Yep.
22.5 million to be precise. However, just after a year at Stamford Bridge, he was found to be using cocaine.
Jag vet
He was
inte vem den där
suspended for
spelaren är
7
alltså.
months. His team kicked him out.
Så han
but
har
that wasn't all.
tagit
Chelsea
kokain
paid
under
so much
tiden
money
han
for
har
him,
spelat.
so they sued him. And Mutu had to pay 17 million in damages. Luckily he got another contract at Juventus after.
17 miljoner var han tvungen att betala.
Ja,
det här är helt sjukt. Hoppas ni hänger med i videon, det går snabbt och tycker det är intressant också.
Match between First Division Club Hamburg and
Wow.
Third Division Club
Paderborn.
Paderborn. There was this play. And referee Robert Heutzer gave a penalty for Paderborn.
Domarskandal eller?
and again penalty. 2 questionable decisions. In the end, Paderborn won 4-2, but during the game, Hamburg coach Klaus Toppmöller suspected that something was not right, and he was right. Heutzer had accepted money from the Croatian betting mafia to fix the game. Heutzer later admitted to having fixed several games in different leagues, and he was banned for life by the German Football Association and sentenced by a court to 2.5 years in prison. And Hamburg, they got 500,000 euros in compensation and were allowed to host an international match, which brought in another 1.5 million. Man, what a crazy story. And now to a very dark part of football history. World Cup 1994 in the US. And Colombia was playing against the Americans in the second group match. We are in the first half. Andres Escobar with an unlucky own goal. Colombia lost the game and was kicked out of the tournament after the third group match. Escobar returned back to Colombia and was shot there. Many suspect that drug dealers who lost bets on the team targeted him. And speaking about...
Han blir så skjuten när han åker tillbaks till Colombia. För att man tror att... What? Att de har bettat pengar och sånt, maffia och skit, drug dealers och skit, har bettat pengar på matchen och torskat.
Drugs. They also play a big role in our number 3. Diego Maradona.
Maradona.
Football's greatest. He was a legend, winning the World Cup, dancing through the
det här är den största skandalen. Gudsand, eller?
He first took cocaine during his time in Barcelona in 1983. And while being at Napoli, he had a full-blown addiction.
Ja, det är ju känt att han
football there, which is crazy if you
inte hatade cola liksom.
Remember the drug test we talked about before? Well, they found drugs in his urine and he was banned for 15 months in 1991. But then a World Cup in 1994. He was allowed to come back on the international stage and the first match was against Greece. And then in the 60th minute...
Och den första matchen tillbaks i landslaget.
And you can see his joy of scoring for Argentina again. But then a drug test after the second match and he tested positive. And FIFA kicked him out of the tournament. This ended his international career, which lasted 17 years, 34 goals in 91 games. And now to one of the biggest scandals ever. We are in the year 2006 and what a summer for Italians. In an outstanding final they beat France and lifted the World Cup trophy, among them many Juventus players, but then the shock. Juventus official Luciano Moggi was found guilty of manipulating games. He apparently had over 6 mobile phones and about 300 SIM cards. And he used them to contact referees to tell them, for example, to give other teams lots of yellow cards. So big players would miss games against Juventus. And this is just one of the ways how they manipulate games. In exchange, referees would get Rolexes and more. As a result, Juventus, who had won the Serie A in 2006, was stripped from their 2005-2006 titles and was relegated to the second division. Many key players left, but stars like Del Piero, Buffon, Trezeguet and Nedved stayed, and they moved back to Serie A immediately. And our place number 1, the mother of all football scandals. In 2005, the FBI knocked on 14 former and current FIFA officials' doors, charging them with racketeering. FIFA's reputation took a huge hit because it was revealed they allegedly accepted bribes of about 150 million euros for World Cup hosting rights.
Och det är så mycket vi inte vet om också. De är så jävla lurt bakom kulisserna.
And even after this huge scandal, I'm not so sure if the corruption in FIFA is gone now. I mean, just look at the recent events. It's almost like you want to throw a bottle at FIFA and say, come on, get your shit together. And you know what? A football player actually did that, throwing a bottle towards a fan. If you want to see more crazy angry moments in football, watch.
Alltså det är intressant på såna här videos när förklarar saker och ting. Det går lite snabbt ibland dock bara, men jag har letat efter videos som har liksom skandaler i fotboll och typ det här är det bästa videon jag hittar. Och vi fick se skandaler som jag inte ens visste om själv och det är ju någonting väldigt, väldigt bra. Skriv i kommentaren om det är någon skandal som har glömts bort. En stor skandal till exempel när det var prisutdelning i dam-VM var det väl och han pussade tjejen. Det var sjukt grej alltså. Sjukt beteende. Jag vill kolla på videon i alla fall. Vi syns imorgon igen för då en till ny otrolig video.